Good morning, good evening, friends. Welcome to my channel Ek Kitab Se Ek Moti, which in English means a pearl or gem from one book. Today I'm going to read two or three paragraphs from a book that can be genuinely called life-changing. People who are in darkness or people who are unable to come out of their seemingly daunting problems can consider the words of this great man who has written this book a lamp. I mean, his words act like a lamp does in our daily life. It shows us the path ahead. So his words can show you the way out of your difficult situations if you are in a difficult situation, and it can show you how to succeed in life despite challenges. This is the autobiography of P J Abdul Kalam, and it's titled Wings of Fire, an autobiography. It has been written by P J Abdul Kalam along with his collaborator or co-worker Arun Tiwari. Before I read the three paragraphs, let me just briefly talk about this book. I think this was released the first time in 1999, and this has been published by the Universities Press India Private Limited. This describes the life of P J Abdul Kalam, from his early days in the island Rameshwaram, and then it talks about his rise in the field of rocket technology, missile technology, and in between it has several gems and pearls of wisdom, especially very practical teachings on how to succeed in our lives and especially in our work. Now, I had heard of this book, but I didn't have any plans to read this book. But one of my colleagues, when I was working for an American company, that colleague suggested that I read his books because P J Abdul Kalam gives a lot of practical tips. So it's not just theoretical knowledge, but he gives us practical concepts that can be applied directly in our lives, and they work. So if you want practical tips to transform your life, if you want genuine guidance and not just some theoretical stuff, read his works. And my friend was right. After reading this, I did feel that it has several things that are very practical, and they work when you put them to work. When you put them into operation, they work for you positively. So today the theme is leadership, and especially this video is for anyone who leads a team, small or big, doesn't matter. If you lead a team, then this video is especially for you, but it's for everyone because everyone is at least a leader of one person, and that's oneself. So we all lead ourselves, our body, mind, and speech. We decide how we are going to use them. So in a way, everyone is a leader and everyone can learn from. And these two principles that P J Abdul Kalam talks about in his autobiography. So I'm going to read from page number 77. This page number depends on the different editions that you might possess, but let me tell you from which chapter it is so that it will be easier for you to refer to this material in case you plan to buy this book. So it's from chapter 7, and so it's from chapter 7, and the part in which this chapter appears is called creation, I think. So let's just read these three paragraphs first, and then we'll discuss these concepts in some detail. Anyone who has taken up the responsibility to lead a team can be successful only if he is sufficiently independent, powerful, and influential in his own right to become a person to reckon with. This is perhaps also the path to individual satisfaction in life. For freedom with responsibility is the only sound basis for personal happiness. What can one do to strengthen personal freedom? I would like to share with you two techniques I adopt in this regard. First, by building your own education and skills. Knowledge is a tangible asset, quite often the most important tool in your work. The more up to date the knowledge you possess, the freer you are. Knowledge cannot be taken away from anyone except by obsolescence, that is, being obsolete in a sense, becoming outdated, out of fashion. Knowledge cannot be taken away from anyone except by obsolescence. A leader can only be free to lead his team if he keeps abreast of all that is happening around him in real time. To lead in a way is to engage in continuing education. In many countries, it is normal for professionals to go to college several nights every week. To be a successful team leader, one has to stay back after the din and clutter of a working day to emerge better equipped and ready to face a new day. The second way is to develop a passion for personal responsibility. The sovereign way to personal freedom is to help determine the forces that determine you. Be active, take on responsibility, work for the things you believe in. If you do not, you are surrendering your fate to others. The historian Edith Hamilton wrote of ancient Greece, when the freedom they wished for most was freedom from responsibility, then Athens ceased to be free and was never free again. The truth is that there is a great deal that most of us can individually do to increase our freedom. We can combat the forces that threaten to oppress us. We can fortify ourselves with the qualities and conditions that promote individual freedom. In doing so, we help to create a stronger organization capable of achieving unprecedented goals. So, this is what P J Abdul Kalam has to say on being a successful leader. So, let me now interpret this, because, as I often say in my videos, whenever we read a passage or a line or a chapter from any book, these things affect each person differently. So it's all a matter of interpretation. So my role here is to just read a portion from a great book. When I think a passage is life transforming, I usually try to mark those passages in my book, and then I try to share it with others. And this interpretation is just a way of telling you what I think of that. So you use your own thinking capacity and ability, and you draw your own conclusions from the portions I read. So our interpretations may differ, and that's not a problem. Each of us has been designed differently. We have different experiences, different needs, different goals. So based on that, our interpretation of text changes. So with that preface, let me just discuss the 2 points that we read in those 3 paragraphs. So to successfully lead a team, APJ Abdul Kalam suggests 2 things. That one, build your own education and skills, and the other thing is develop a passion for personal responsibility. So let's look at these 2 one by one in some detail. So the first thing is, if you want to successfully lead a team, build your own education and skills. I don't think anyone would like to follow a person who doesn't act on what he asks others to do, or one who doesn't lead by personal example. So a team leader has to know a lot about his or her own field. Otherwise, instead of leading the team, the leader will be. The words of the leader will have not much impact on the team members. So if you want to lead, you have to somehow show the team members that you are working hard on yourself, and that you are aware of things that are happening in your industry, and that you are taking steps to enhance your knowledge, so that the team also is inspired to increase its knowledge. That is, each team member is inspired and enthusiastic about becoming better at what they do. So what APJ Abdul Kalam suggests is that we build our education and skills. So one is theoretical knowledge. So we need to have some theoretical understanding of our field, and for that we can attend seminars, read books, and take some classes and visit some places where we can have a better understanding of the way our field has been improving. For example, what I'm trying to say is, if you lead a team that works in a factory, then maybe you can visit a factory of a similar kind in other states or in other countries and see how the teams function there. Or if you lead a team of salespeople, then you can maybe try to go to some other organizations and try to understand how their sales teams function. Or you can read about those organizations from journals and magazines. So building a theoretical understanding of your field is important. And the other thing is skills. So you will need to develop the skills that you need to do well in your field. So for example, if you are a sales lead, then you should yourself demonstrate those skills that you're trying to infuse, or that you're trying to transfer to your team members. So they should be able to see that you possess the skills that you are willing to see in your team members. And for that you need a practical experience of that. So that's very important. So you need to have this theoretical base that can be acquired through books, through journals, through attending seminars and so on. And then you need the practical skills to lead your team, and that can come through experience. And you can also maybe have some kind of role play in your organization to show your team how certain skills can be put into practice. And you can also conduct some sessions for your team members. For example, let's say it's a technical writing team. So maybe you can conduct some sessions discussing grammar, vocabulary, presentation skills, and design, document design, and so on. And so that you can transfer your knowledge to your team members. So this is the first suggestion that APJ Abdul Kalam has. And the second thing that he talks about is developing a passion for personal responsibility. Now this can be interpreted in several ways. Although the text is there, I'll try to just interpret it in my own way. So freedom, as he says, depends on responsibility, accepting responsibility. So accepting responsibility or personal responsibility has several meanings. So let me just try to unpack them one by one. The first thing is the leader is willing to accept responsibility. For example, if you lead a team, it's better to just come up with new things that you want to do for your team instead of just waiting for things to happen. Just become proactive so that you decide that you'll do something new for your team members. Maybe you'll, as I said, conduct some sessions. Your company need not tell you that you need to do these sessions for your team. Or you can discuss with the team members what area they would like to improve in, and then you maybe bring some external trainers in your organization. Or maybe you take your team members outside and take them to some seminars. Or maybe you can ask them to use some online resources to become better. So that's one thing, that is being proactive. That's one aspect of responsibility. The other thing is when mistakes are made, as a team leader or the leader of your team, you should accept responsibility. You should not blame your team members that because of Mr. A or Mrs. B or Miss C, your team didn't do well. That's a very bad way of handling a team. So as a team lead, it's your job to accept responsibility for the performance of the team. You shouldn't, I think, pass the buck, they say, don't blame others. So you should accept the blame for failure, and when the team succeeds, you should share the success with every team member. So for example, when the team succeeds in a project, It's not that the team leader's soul becomes a sole kind of, or the person who accepts responsibility for that success individually. That is, he or she thinks that it's because of the team leader that the team succeeded. That is, you just don't claim success for yourself. That is, don't think that it's just because of you that the team succeeded. So it's teamwork. Every member has to contribute in order for the team to succeed. So you need to accept the blame when the team makes mistakes, and you need to share the blame, or share the success. So when the team succeeds, you share it with others. When the team fails, you accept the blame. So take responsibility. I think that also is one of the meanings of responsibility. And the other thing about responsibility is that freedom needs responsibility as well. That's why in our constitution we have this thing called fundamental rights and fundamental duties. So rights without duties have no sense, and you need to first do your duty and then you claim your right. You just can't say I have certain rights without performing your duty first, because your right, I think, is someone else's duty, and your duty is someone else's rights. So that's how the work works. It has this double aspect. So you do the things to others that you want yourself to be done to you, and that's one of the fundamental principles of conduct, or I think it's called the golden rule as well. So I think these are the things that I have interpreted from these 3 paragraphs that we read from Wings of Fire. So before I recapitulate, I recommend this book. You buy this book. This book is full of these gems and pearls that can change your lives. I just read a small portion that today kind of caught my attention, and kind of it drew my attention because somehow it relates to leadership, and I think it's very important nowadays, because nowadays people focus more on their rights instead of on their duties. So I thought this is something that I should let my viewers know. So to recapitulate, APJ Abdul Kalam has these 2 mantras for leadership success. So if you want to successfully lead a team, you build your education and skills. You acquire theoretical knowledge and you become skillful in your profession or field. And you develop a passion for personal responsibility. Thanks for watching this video.